So today, two legends in their respective fields are going face to face in a macaroni and cheese cage match. Wait. It's a cage match. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to my kitchen. Can be yours today too, so get comfy because we're making the most comforting food that has ever comforted. Mac and cheese. So, well, let's bring over the chefs. Whose recipes are we following today? Well, they're not really chefs, actually. They're just people. In one corner, Martha Stewart. And I actually prepared an introduction for her. Entrepreneur, author, cook, gardener, TV host, podcast host, eternally curious, teacher, student, mother, grandmother, friend. That's her Instagram bio. Now, I have been cooking a bunch of her recipes recently. All of them I found to be very cozy. So I expect no less today, especially because her mac and cheese recipe is apparently the recipe to end all recipes. That's what I heard. So, well, in the other corner, we have Snoop Dogg. Death Row Records catalog streaming everywhere. There may be a bunch of you out there that are not familiar with old Snoop Doggy Dogg here. Because you're watching me every week for the Julia Child recipes, I understand that there may be just kind of a, who the hell is he? Well, my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Does that ring any bells? No? Okay, well, they're actually friends. They have a connection here. They had a cooking show together. Martha wrote the foreword in Snoop's book. Today, they're frenemies. Because they're gonna duke it out to find out who has the better mac and cheese. I'm curious, and I understand this may be a bit of an unfair fight, but let's see what happens for entertainment purposes only. Who knows, maybe Martha finds a way, always rooting for the underdog. Let's go. Round one, the Martha Stewart Living Cookbook, the original classics. Okay. Baked Macaroni and Cheese 101. This is quite possibly the most popular recipe we have ever created. Baked macaroni and cheese is a wonderful combination of comforting textures. Al dente pasta, a velvety cream sauce made with two types of cheese, and crunchy, buttery breadcrumbs. Now with 6 slices of white bread, I gotta remove the crust firstly. Martha ain't no crust girl. Well, just do it all at the same time there, son. Be efficient. Be efficient. Be efficient. So I need 1/4 to 1/2 inch pieces. C'est ça. Some of them have the crust on. It doesn't really bother me too much, quite honestly. I feel like crust gets a bad rap. It's just a visual thing. There's no other issues with it. Justice for crust. Bowl me. Thank you. Get that into the bowl. Now in a small saucepan, I got 2 tablespoons of butter. Need to melt. So I gotta pour the melted butter into the bowl, give it a toss. Set this aside. In a much bigger saucepan, I need 5.5 cups of milk. Gotta warm that up. So I'm grating up a hell of a lot of cheese here. It's 4.5 cups of sharp cheddar cheese. You're gonna need more than that. But don't you dare forget about the gruyere. You're gonna need 2 cups worth. Grated, of course. I do realize that Martha did give me weight measurements after all. It was 18 ounces of cheddar cheese and 8 ounces of gruyere cheese, which comes to a whopping 26 ounces, which is 737-ish grams worth. That is that. That's a lot. So in another sort of saucepan here, she says a high-sided skillet. The remaining 6 tablespoons of butter from a stick of butter. And you'll never believe it, we're gonna melt that too. So when the butter begins to bubble, I'm gonna add in 1/4 cup of flour. Keep that on a medium heat. Cook and stir it for 1 minute. We're making a roux. Starting off using many of my tools here. I should have just used a whisk because now, the milk hot enough? Oh yeah, that's hot enough. Drizzle it in a little at a time to keep this mixture smooth. Okay, that thickens up instantly. We are now making a bechamel, which is adding milk into a roux. But a little at a time just to ensure that this stays smooth. Just cannot stop whisking. If you stop whisking, it's game over. Get used to this. We're whisking continuously for 8 to 12 minutes until it is thickened and begins to bubble, keeping that on a medium heat. Patience. Okay, it's beginning to bubble and it's thickened nicely. 2 teaspoons of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. It's a lot. Keep it stirring while you figure out what to do next. You need around 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. If this was a Marco Pure White recipe, we'd be using white pepper, but it's not. We got nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon worth. Whoa, 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 keep it stirring, keep it stirring. Turn down the heat a bit. And now it is time to turn this bechamel into a Mornay sauce. And I'm gonna do that by adding my mountain of grated cheese. But after reading the recipe a bit better here, I realized that I shouldn't have combined everything into a big pile. Live your life with some regrets here, don't you? Because that's 1.5 cups roughly of grated gruyere, and then I need to save around 1.5 cups of cheddar as well. Oy, caramba, Jamie. If only had a brain. Add 3 cups of cheddar and 1.5 cups of gruyere. Turn off the heat, all the cheese goes in. Except for the reserved cheese here. I'm gonna be saving that and putting that on the top. Okay, so we have a sauce here that consists of much butter, milk, and very much cheese. Lactose intolerant person's fever dream. That would be me. All self-diagnosed. But I got pills for it, not to worry. Okay, get a lid on that and just set that aside until I'm ready for it. Bring a large pot of salted water to boil. Now I have elbow macaroni. It's a pound worth. So this is kind of important to watch here because it says cook for 2 to 3 minutes until the outside is cooked and the inside is underdone. However, the box says al dente is 8 minutes. But you got to keep in mind that we're going to be baking this afterward as well. So just consider all of those factors. Okay, that's 3 minutes. How are we looking? Okay. Colander, thank you. So let's drain. Rinse under cold running water and drain well. Macaroni into the cheese sauce. Okay, that's a full house. Stir that in. Okay, come over here now. Hi. So this looks creamy, very creamy. I actually think this is a really good time to stop what I'm doing with Martha's. Keep the lid on, keep it secret, keep it safe sort of thing. And it's time to move on to the next one. Round 2, Snoop Dogg's From Crook to Cook cookbook. I'm far from a young pup, and like a real seasoned playa, my tastes have evolved over the years. Mine too. But while I've learned how to get down with that top-notch luxury cuisine, I'm still prone to keep it way hood with some of those LBC classics. I don't know what LBC is, but it sounds great. So, mac and cheese, and he spelt mac like macking on, never mind. This right here was inspired by my wife, aka Boss Lady. She knows that the way to a dog's heart is through his stomach. So she's making enough of this cheesy treat to keep the dog always coming back for more. She just knows my flavor and what to do to make it taste just the way I like it. Bet you can't do it like she do. What's so special about my baby's mac and cheese? Simple. It's just like Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's cheesy as a mofo. It would be my privilege to make it. First step would be bringing some heavily salted water to a boil. So I need some sort of saucepan here. So I got 2 cups of whole milk and a cup of heavy cream. Heat that up, but being careful not to bring it to a boil. Last time we were using 2 different types of cheese, where with Snoop's we're just doing extra sharp cheddar cheese, 5 cups worth, which is around 400 grams worth. Thank you for providing grams. On a medium heat, I'm gonna use that. So I learned my lesson with the last time that you want something a bit bigger. And I have 4 tablespoons of butter. So once that butter has melted, same deal as last time, we gotta make a roux. So I'm gonna sprinkle in a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Keep it whisking 2 to 3 minutes on a medium heat. So just like last time, I'm gonna gradually add in the milk. Oh, and the cream, it's both. So it's a bechamel still, but with cream too. And then just add a little in, give it a stir. So until thickened and smooth. Don't you stop whisking. So with Martha's recipe, we stirred this for like 8 to 12 minutes. Remember that? But with Boss Ladies, it's only 2 minutes. But it's the same deal. We're looking for it to be thickened and smooth. I have a hunch that might take a little longer than 2 minutes. Especially because we're using less flour too. So adjusting the heat to keep the milk from boiling. I think we're almost there, but this is taking way longer than 2 minutes. So gradually adding in around half the cheese. Yes, okay. And then whisking that in entirely. Am I turning off the heat? No, leave it on. That melts fast. We're using a new ingredient, 2/3 cup of sour cream, which is 80 grams. Whisk that together now. And be mindful to keep this on like a low heat so it doesn't boil or anything. Eyeball a teaspoon of black pepper, freshly cracked. 2 teaspoons of dry mustard powder. If it's a powder, of course it's dry, Jamie. Half a teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce. I got that pronunciation down. And then season with salt. Worcestershire. Have a little taste. Leave it. So I'm just gonna turn the heat off on that, keep a lid on, because I'm gonna focus on the macaroni. So it's the exact same thing as last time, a pound of the elbow pasta into my boiling water. So cook until al dente, around a minute less than the package instructions. So it was 8 minutes, so 7 minutes, but from experience with the last one, I know that maybe around 4-ish minutes, because I'm gonna follow similar to how I did with Martha's, because I found that hers was al dente after like 3 minutes, although I was talking to the camera, so maybe 4 minutes. Yeah, just keep that kind of similar to Martha's. Okay, take it out. Cooks fast. Colander, thank you. Oven gloves, mitts, whatever. Thank you. All right, see, all the talking to the camera, it ends up being maybe 4.5 minutes. Maybe 5 minutes. Drain. Boss Lady says nothing about this, but I am gonna drain it with cold water like I did last time, just to stop the cooking, you know? Okay, you know the drill. Just make sure that's sufficiently drained, and then into the Mornay sauce. All right, mix that. This is a good place to just take a minute and get tidied up, and then we will reconvene. Cleaned up the place a bit, and heaven is a place on earth. Look at that. It's just kind of sitting in front of you. It's really hard not to do this. Oh, okay. So I have my two prepared baking dishes here that have been greased up. We're gonna go with, let's go back to one, Martha's. All right, I'm gonna spoon my mixture into my baking dish, fill her up. I have my reserved shredded 1.5 cups of sharp cheddar cheese and 1/2 cup of gruyere cheese. It's all mixed together here, and I need to sprinkle it on top. Spare no expense. Well, there's no expenses to be spared, quite honestly. That you heard correctly, that is a remaining 2 cups worth of cheese that is sprinkled on top. And then we have the breadcrumbs that go on top of that. So I'm just realizing something. I'm looking at the photo of what she's done here, and her breadcrumbs in the photo, they're not like what I'm doing. I don't know what I did. I need breadcrumbs. What the hell are you doing? Her directions with these breadcrumbs say, torn into 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch pieces. Okay, sure, these are still too big. They look like salad croutons, but her directions are a bit bizarre, n'est-ce pas? Why don't we beam in the whiz kid? Thank you. Never really seen anything so ridiculous in all my days. That's my fault mostly, but also maybe just the wording is off a little bit. It's my fault. And I'm not gonna use, she was saying use all of it, but I think that's not gonna be the case for me. Did I go too high? Maybe. Anyway, now in goes Snoop's into the other baking dish. So the remaining 2.5 cups of cheddar cheese goes on top. And now I told you I was gonna bake them at the same time, but I don't think it's fair to bake them. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I hope everyone is okay. Okay, hello. This is my precision oven. And I had this idea where I want to bake these both at the same time. Okay, out of breath. At the same time in 2 separate ovens, just so nothing gets screwed up with the baking, but also Martha is baking at 375 degrees F, where Snoop is baking at 400. You know, just a difference there of 15 degrees, but you know, it's enough to cry foul in the comments, I'm sure. Don't want that. So Martha's is gonna go into here. Good luck to you. 30 minutes. So 25 to 30 minutes for Snoop's. Golden brown on the top with Martha's, check. Snoop's is golden and bubbly, check. Martha Stewart, Snoop Doggy Dogg. Order up! Wow. Whose is better? Pray for me. All right, let the games begin. Let's start with Martha. Okay. Snoop? I don't know. I've seen enough here and eaten enough here I know who the winner is. So you better hold on to something because it is a nail biter. Let's start off with Martha Stewart's mac and cheese. And the crunch on the very top, the breadcrumbs. Obviously Snoop's didn't have that, so that's a biggie because it does add quite a bit to this thing. The breadcrumbs in there are a very big plus. So I was looking online at other people who have followed the same recipe as I have, and I've seen photos of people that have left the breadcrumbs, croutons, the same as I had them prior to me introducing the Whiz Kid. So I'm gonna hear it in the comments either way, whether or not I should have or shouldn't have done that. But I'm completely happy and at peace with my decision, calling an audible with those. For me, personally, it's the right call. Anyway, flavors in this one I would say are very smooth, cohesive, velvety, creamy, all the buzzwords, and the two cheeses. Gruyere and the cheddar, you could pick up both of them, and it was a really nice touch, and I found that it didn't overdo it at all. Well, it kind of did. Well, they both overdid it, the cheese. But that's okay because we signed up for that. That's gonna be tough to beat. Well, let's see how Snoop did. Snoop Dogg's, also very, very velvety and creamy. Yes, the buzzwords are all attached to this one. Also, obviously, it was just missing the breadcrumbs on top. That was the boss lady's choice. And you know what? It's nice too. There's no problems with either one of these. You could have it with the crust or without. This has a tang to it, which surprised me. I guess it's from the sour cream. But I really liked it. And I also really like the mustard flavor in this because this one had neither one of those. Now, when it comes to the cheese, obviously this one just had one choice in there. Extra sharp cheddar cheese. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Extra sharp cheddar cheese in there all the way. However, when I'm eating it side by side with this one, like I said, it was just smoother and you could just pick up the two different varieties of cheese in there. And I found that it made a big difference when you're eating them side by side. I don't know, it was just a little more cohesive, not as pronounced and sharp. Which one do I prefer? And the dog put up quite a fight. It had bite, him and the boss lady. Solid outing, but I gotta give it to Martha Stewart on this one. This is the one I would go with if I was given the option. I found this one a little more interesting. I think it would be a nice touch to add the mustard flavor into this. Or maybe you could just combine interesting aspects to this, like the sour cream, the mustard, the Worcestershire, put that into this one, and then you have a deluxe mac and cheese. This was Jamie and Martha and Snoop and Boss Lady. Bon appetit, au revoir, see you later. You know what, I just wanted to jump on the horn really quick here and let you know something. Hello, it's the next day. I did go home, I did change, but I'm back in the kitchen. But I have some breaking news, and it's a different opinion about the mac and cheeses. I gave them both to Christy so that she could take them to work for dinner. Yes, dinner. And she just ate them, and she let me know what she thought. Mind you, this is the next day, but this text chain is interesting. Here we go. Yum, the mac. Martha's is intense. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Snoop's is my fave. I said, what makes you say that? LOL, I chose Martha. It could be just the piece I had, but Martha's had too much of the roux or whatever. I like how Snoop's was more noodles with good flavor. Oh, the bechamel mornay sauce. Being a know-it-all. Every time I eat a bite of Martha's, I'm like, am I eating flour in water? Ha ha ha. Interesting, hun. I wish I could add that into the video, LOL. I thought hers was way more smooth. I like the 2 cheeses in hers. I also think that's fair. Snoop's tasted more OG Mac, but hers was elevated. Haha, wow, hun, some bombshells here. This would have made for a good convo on the show. You can use these texts if you want, LOL. I just thought you'd want to know that.